So, this first class, seminar, conference is about what is mediumship. But in order to answer that, I have to really sort of tell you a little bit about what other things are, what you're likely to encounter with your spiritual work and so forth. So when people see, the whole thing really, I put the word psychic, it kind of covers the whole lot, doesn't it really? I think the word psychic covers all of the gifts that people do. And what it actually means in Greek, I think it is of the soul. So it's what we're doing with this type of thing is working with, trying to connect with the soul and connect with the soul of each other, really. So the first stages that you'd find for people that work with this, work with the soul, work with the psychic, is on the interpretive skills, such as like tarot and things like that. So that's not mediumship, that's nothing to do with the spirit world and things. That a person can learn tarot just by reading it from a book, or learning how to interpret the cards one at a time and looking them up. But there's still a skill in it because there's an interpretation needed. So you're kind of using your intuition with that type of work, And if we teach tarot, we often will encourage you not just to use your intuition, but to also use your clairvoyance at the same time, so that you see a card, you might understand its meaning, and you think, that card is a symbol for this, what's happening in your life. So you're still using psychic skills in it, but a lot of people aren't using any form of psychic skills when they do tarot. They're purely reading the meanings. I've seen people, and Jane and I have been at a psychic fair once. I remember one woman standing up there, page of cups means this, king of swords means that, so-and-so means that, this means that, this means that. And I think, well, yeah, it's like they read it like a machine. So if you start with things like tarot cards or any form of oracle, you also have to engage a certain amount of your own clairvoyance, or it's another misused word I'll explain in a minute, your energy into this to help give a reading. But so the first people, there might be interpretive readers, there might be intuitive readers, a lot of people call themselves empaths, empathic, and some call themselves psychics, and some call themselves mediums and just read the cards, which is wrong. But that's the first step. And there's all sorts of oracles would fall into that same category. So you could put a lot of different aspects into that. But then there's other psychic skills which don't need any of these tools, as it were. Because I always think of these things as they're tools, they're things we use to help us to get an insight. But if once you're psychic, once you can pick things up from a person, you have the ability of ESP, extrasensory perception. So that would include things like being able to read a person's thoughts, or being able to sense things about a person, or being able to get a feeling about what's happening in that person's life. All these things are coming through extra senses that have been defined by science in different ways, but they're basically picking up things from the person that's in front of you. So once you've got that, what's the point of tarot cards? Because you don't need these tools. And real psychic people develop that psychic skill first of all. And that's the first thing I'd like to be getting you working with, this idea that you can pick things up from a person, you can feel things sensitively. Because you've all got this, haven't you? I mean, if you go somewhere, you go, like this new building here, you can feel this is quite a nice building, quite a nice energy, wouldn't you say to it? Nice atmosphere, it feels like it's been a good, happy place. There's a lot of places you might go to if you've ever been to battleground, or anybody's ever been to Belsen where the birds never sing, there's horrible energies there, isn't it? And you can sense it and feel it. And we can feel things from places, we can feel things from people, and every one of you that sat here has, I'm sure, has a certain sensitivity to people and to places. I mean, if someone's in a mood, if you have a row, you can feel the energy. I mean, when my dad was alive, if you could come into the room, and you could come into the room, and you see him from behind, and you could step into the room, and you could feel, there's a problem. Because he was one of those people that could radiate an energy, it's like walking into a brick wall of vibration, when he was in a bad mood, that was. And a lot of people are like that, aren't they? They've got, you can feel the energy around them. So what we're picking up there is we're picking up a person's feelings, a person's thoughts, and we're getting a lot of that through the aura, the energy field that's around us, you know? We're connecting with each other through energy all the time. And that energy connects when we're face to face with people, when we're close with people, and that's why we share thoughts, and why often when we're most relaxed it works, and when we care for people and with someone that's with us that we love, thoughts are shared much more easily than somebody that we don't like too much, or someone that's very close to this sort of thing, you know? If we can be surrounded by people that are kind of quite open, we naturally share our thoughts. So the whole thing works by this interconnection of vibration between us all, you know? We are working on a vibratory level, and in workshops and things we can connect because we're face to face. But that same energy, you know, also works over distance. Because they found, for example, when they had the spaceships going up into the moon, they did a few experiments with telepathy tests and found they were getting correct results. Even all those thousands and however many millions is it, I don't know, all that distance, you know, they were getting proven that telepathy could work, mind-to-mind communication could work over any distance. So even though our auras connect, our energy fields connect, we also connect onto another bigger field, as it were, like almost like a collective mind, where we can all feel our vibrations, and we can connect to that by looking into ourselves. So we're all connected, and that's the next step, I think, towards mediumship and psychic things, connecting on this bigger energy field into this mind field, as I call it. So, okay, don't worry. Grab a couple of seats or something. That's all right. No, the traffic's been bad, I know. So we got this other level. So we can start off. We can work with with our psychic work. We can work on interpretive skills. We can work on psychic interpretive skills. We can work on energy levels with each other, and we can work on this bigger energy field, like I'm talking about. There's this like what I call like a mind field, a mind connection between us. Now, if we like each other, it works better. If we love each other, it works even better still, because it all works on this vibration of empathy between people. So mediumship starts to come in when we get to that level, because just as we can communicate mind to mind, so the spirit people can connect mind to mind with us. And just as we like to like people and love people, the thing that connects us with the spirit world is that vibration of love. So if we raise our vibration to a sort of a love vibration, then the spirit world are able to connect with us. And that's all you need, really, to connect with the spirit, to be able to link yourself into that love vibration. Now, I don't love your mum and dad, or your mum and dad, or your brothers and sisters that might be in the spirit world, but you do, you see. So the recipient of the message, it's their energy builds the link of love, and we connect with it. Now, a lot of people will sort of don't know what mediumship is, because they think, oh, it's, you know, everybody's a medium nowadays. Every Tom, Dick and Harry's a medium. You know, you see it everywhere. Every psychic suddenly becomes medium because they know it's, you know, people are more interested in that. A medium's job is to give a very specific thing. It's to prove that life continues after death, to prove that the human personality continues after death. So a medium's job isn't about telling you the future, it isn't about solving your life issues, it isn't about reading the tarot cards to tell you what's going to happen. A medium's job is to give you things, bits of proof, to prove to you that life goes on. And that's the job of mediumship. It's totally different in some ways to all those life issues that are dealt with and all the other things I've described. People abuse it. People want to come along, they want mediumship, get in touch with so-and-so and ask them to tell me about whether my boyfriend will come back. You know, it's not about that. It's about trying to prove that life goes on, helping people to understand that there's a greater purpose to life. And that is what should inspire us. That's what should drive us on with this work, because it's such a beautiful thing and such a rare and precious gift. So few people have this. And those of you that have the gift already, because some of you I know here have that, and those of you who are looking for the gift, think of the tremendous changes that you can do in people's lives. You can transform a person's life with mediumship. Now mediumship takes a number of forms. In the early days of spiritualism, you used to get what we would call objective mediumship. That is where the spirit is actually outside of ourselves, i.e. they would use a form of energy called ectoplasm that will come off the medium and build up into a spirit form and actually see the person of the spirit stood next to you. Some people will get inner connections with the spirit, and instead of thinking it's inside their mind, they'll actually see it physically outside of themselves. Just like you might have a dream or wake up from a dream and see the dream going on outside of yourself. That's an objective form of mediumship, although the person's not in reality in that case standing there. Your mind is seeing it but projecting it onto the screen of the world around us. And mediumship can also take other forms. It can come as a form of trance, where the medium is taken control of by the spirit world and the spirit will talk directly through them. That is also a step after inspirational speaking, where some people talk about things from the spirit without actually giving any proof of the spirit, so I'm suspect of that. I always feel everything has to be proved, even trance mediumship. But what we'll be trying to aim towards here with the group is to develop our mental mediumship. And that don't mean being a nutcase. It means that we're using our mental facilities to connect with the spirit. And that takes a number of forms, which are usually broken down into one being clairsentience, which is where we sense the things about the spirit person connecting with us. So when a spirit connects, the feeling is, tell me about your personality, tell me about the things that your body and how you died and things like that. It's all the sense things. We can sense the personality, we can sense the feelings they had when they passed. Even when we ask questions, they can give it a feeling in our body, a feeling in our emotions. It's kind of that deep level of the human condition that clairsentience touches. Very important part of mediumship, because it's through that all the other parts can come in, which are clairaudience, when we hear the spirit voice, but we can give a tremendous message to the spirit without actually hearing the name of the person, because we've described the personality, we described the quirks and their mannerisms and everything like that and how they died, which is given by clairsentience. Or we can get it with pictures, clairvoyance, which is like pictures given into our head. So all those things taken together bring us to an understanding of what mediumistic communication is. We have all these different psychic things, all these different mediumistic things, and I'd like us to gradually learn those and understand the differences between them, and step by step go through a development through the psychic, aiming towards up a ladder, as it were, till we get closer and closer to mediumistic development. But some of it will be a mixture of all those things. Sometimes you get a feeling about a person, sometimes you get a feeling about the spirit. And I think there's one more level above that I put once more. And that's where we get into sort of like a divine connection. Because mediumship is just one thing. It proves there's life after death. But the whole answer to life is not just about the fact that we're going to continue with more of the same in the next life. There's another stage to it in which I feel is like, I notice it in readings, it comes as sort of a soul connection that happens with people, where we get an understanding of a person's reason for being here, their personal purpose for being on life. It's hard to describe. It's sort of like a connection you get that when you do it, it can kind of connect very deeply to a person's soul. It's like there's a certain point you get to where you're just connected to something in the person that it goes beyond life and death, goes beyond the psychic, goes beyond all the emotional things of this world, but gives you a connection to the reason you're here. So that doesn't have a name. I would put it in the words of like the yogic siddhis and things like that, the higher powers. Because once you get into those higher realms, that's when all the miracle stuff starts to happen, the stuff where people materialize, or where people can be omnipresent or multi-places at the same time. But, that's for another talk, another day. But hopefully, that's a good little summary for you about what mediumship's all about, and we're going to move on through the evening and do some work with some of those things and some practice.